everyone, and welcome to the Theater of Football. We're all dressed up. You know what time it is. It's time for our first annual, so you probably don't know what time it is, but I'll tell you, it's our first annual Theater of Football Awards. That'll go to three lucky Manchester United players and one player overall in the Prem. I'm Mike Hodum, and I'm joined today by Jeremy Forbes. Hi, Jeremy.
Hey, Mike, how's it going? So glad I could join you for this one. When you told me about the title of this clip, I was really excited.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you, Jeremy. Let's get at it. Our first award we'll be handing out is for Manchester United's Most Improved Player. So, Jeremy, who do you got?
I have Most Improved Player. I actually have Anthony Martial.
Okay, I went with Fred. Yeah, I went with Fred because he had such a dreadful year last year, and I felt like for most of this season he was one of our better players. Obviously, he didn't play well after the lockdown, I felt, but overall, I felt he deserved the award. But I didn't really consider Martial, so give me your thought process behind Anthony.
So my thought process was this. I truly believe I would want to give him that thing, not just because of the goals that he scored this season. We always knew that he was a special player. Everyone knew at Manchester United. The fans knew. I think sometimes our manager at the time might have not always played him in regards to the best positions that he should have been played in. But then I think there was something that came also down to his not only his personality, but his willingness and his desire inside of him to say, okay, this is the position my manager needs me to be in, and I'm going to live up not only to my already hype of being a fantastic player, but live up to the expectations that my manager feels like I can achieve. And I think he did that this season. He took on the responsibility of saying, I am going to be our front man up there. I'm going to play in this role and excel in this role better than what I did last season, and in a role that people didn't actually believe I could be played in. And I think he's pushing for it even for France. And he has the ability, because right now I think France is in a position where for all of the amazing talent that they have coming out of that country, that specific position, there's been a little bit of a decline, if I'm being honest, in a lot of their players that were playing that position. Some because of age, and maybe some just because of extra kind of dramas at the teams that they're at and things like that. But I think he did step up to the challenge, and that's why I would give him that award for this season.
Yeah, is Giroud still Deschamps' number one striker?
I think he and Antoine Griezmann are kind of
false nine.
Yeah, are kind of doing that kind of spot and position.
Okay. Well,
and sadly, I think Giroud he is in a little bit in decline with his age. He's good with his head, I would give you, but I don't think he can continue to hold and force a line like that.
Well, he had a nice layoff to Pulisic for Chelsea's goal in the FA Cup yesterday, but he didn't do much else.
Great, yeah.
That's actually an interesting opinion. I don't think you're wrong to select Anthony. The one thing I will say is that role, and you're spot on that. And I know you said managers came in, didn't necessarily rate him. One manager did. That was Mourinho. Because his first season with the club, Martial mostly played through the middle under Van Gaal. And I thought he was much younger then, but I thought he showed promises that he can do that role, which I think is why Solskjaer came in and kind of went back to putting him there. Is because he saw that. Yeah, he saw his capabilities to play that position, and I think he'll continue to get better in that role too.
Nice.
So that's a very good opinion. I didn't even really consider Martial.
But I do respect your option of Fred. I do think that sadly, because of how things developed with our midfield and the way that we want to play, and the lockdown, that did force a kind of decline in his output after the restart.
Yeah.
if he gets it together in the off season, I think he can once again have a good season for us next season, because there will be games and we will be trying to challenge on multiple fronts, and he can help provide that for the team.
Yeah, I just felt like his first year he looked like a player short of confidence, and when Mourinho came in and played him the first few games, then completely dropped him, that didn't help him at all. So to have the opportunity, he got the opportunity to play, I would say, based upon injuries to like Pogba and Modric, who was out of form for much of the year. But I felt like he took advantage of it the best he could. And then, he fell out of the side because of how we were playing after the lockdown, and he wasn't able to continue that form. But that's why I gave it to Fred. I thought before January he may have been our player of the season, at least one of the contenders for that. He could have been, but because he fell off, I would say no to that. But you're right with the games we have next season, and I'm interested to see him play in the Europa League. I assume he'll get plenty of time to play when the Europa League starts on Wednesday. So
okay, that's a valid point. There are some players that should get some games there, especially if they continue to do like 2 legs up for the first part.
Yeah, I think it'll be one-off ties, so there won't be too many games to play. We'll have the second leg, and then we're 5-0 up, so we're pretty much through. But but then the quarterfinal will be 1 leg, and the same with the semifinal. So there won't be. Hopefully, we'll make the final and we'll play another 4 games. But there won't be too much action. But I think Fred and McTominay will probably come back in the side on Wednesday. So I'm excited to see if they can kind of hit back to where they were at prior to the lockdown. So that'll be fun to see. But we'll have a video previewing the Europa League here in a couple days. But we want to move on here. Next one, I think you and I will be in consensus of. It's Manchester United's young player of the season, and while I feel Brandon Williams did a great job filling in for Luke Shaw during his, typical injuries that he has, unfortunately.
Oh boy!
But
I think with such a good season for Luke Shaw, he still ended up having that pop up.
Yeah, he still had a couple injury layoffs, but and Williams did very well filling in for him. But I think
I'd give him an honorable mention.
Yeah,
I second that with you.
So you're with me, Mason Greenwood, Young Player of the Year?
Oh yes, of course. And definitely an up and coming. Like, he's been a talent for us, but an up and coming potential superstar. Like, I really think he put the world on notice, and if he stays focused and continues to have that kind of professionalism and the way to kind of block everything out, and that's what Rashford said about him. He's like, he's been a chap that's just come out and played his game, and he's been willing to say, okay, I'm not going to let all the other things outside around me kind of get to me and make me get distracted and lose focus. And if he's able to do that and just grow and actually maybe learn some more from Ollie, I think he could actually become a superstar of the future.
Yeah, I think if he keeps his head down, he's got superstar status written all over him. He scored 17 goals in all competitions, and so 3 more in the Europa League. He could reach 20. That'd be amazing, considering he hasn't really started that many games for us.
True.
And a lot of those games, most of those games he did start, he was playing in a position that he probably isn't the most comfortable in, as a right wing. Right winger, but he would often scoot inside.
I also think he is trying to learn how to potentially make that his own, because I think he understands that going forward, if United go out and get another striker or are able to get another striker, it's going to be kind of more of a kind of traditional front man. The types of positions and times that he can come and play in, that's going to be more or less the role that would be easy for him to assume. So the more comfortable he gets with that, especially if we're not going to play a front 2, then that's going to be good for him if he's able to, take that on and say, I'm going to make this my own. I'm going to learn how to manage this role and do that role, even if that wasn't initially what I was most comfortable with.
Yeah, two points. I agree with you on that. with any job, it's great to be, in my opinion, cross-trained, to be able to do tons of different roles. So learning how to play this position, it might not be a position he played coming through the youth teams.
Yeah.
It is good for him to get that experience in different areas. And you're right, he probably does see that as the best chance for him to get into the side. But secondly, is something I think you and I talked off the record about probably, I think before lockdown, is that each time we saw him play, it seemed like there was some aspect, some tiny little aspect of the play, whether it be tracking runners back or pressing from the top, that he tries to improve upon. So
Yeah.
each performance, we take just even the goals out of it, because that's just natural goal scoring talent.
Oh yeah.
But it looks like
Yeah.
he works each game to build upon just a little bit, just so that momentum keeps slowly climbing the mountain. And there's no terrible performance that you usually see with young players where they just, fall off a cliff and then maybe confidence is shattered. No, he seems to find one area that he maybe didn't do the greatest the previous game and work on that. So it seems like that might be something in his head.
And that's great. And that's what you want to see from a professional that desires to be more than just a great footballer, wants to be an amazing footballer. That's the kind of attitude you want to see.
Yeah, definitely.
And Cristiano Ronaldo had the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Sir Alex had to speak to him a couple times because initially he got so excited about the one good thing like he was good at, and then he's like, well, you gotta still work on some other things, because for as much as it looks fancy and it looks amazing to do all of those step overs, like, if you just become so focused on the one thing that, you seem to be extremely good at and what the defense knows to expect from you, soon enough, that's not going to be enough. Mm-hmm. So even Ronaldo went back, through the encouragement of Sir Alex and worked on things and got better in a lot of different areas where he wasn't initially as confident in.
Yeah, or proficient. Yeah.
Yeah, proficient. Correct.
Good point. I'd like to move on to the big award for the club, player of the season for Manchester United. Jeremy, who do you have?
Player of the season. I'm really torn with that one. I've been working through my mind who I want to give it to. I think there's many different reasons why I would give it to one person over the other. I think there were two predominant individuals this season that actually, one, changed our season around completely. So, and two, another one that I feel like maybe is under the radar a little bit in regards to his impact, but he was consistent and phenomenal the whole season, and really solidified a position that people were able to drastically attack us at last season with the likes of Young. Oh my goodness, the dreads of Young last season. Having Wan-Bissaka come in and just be a revelation. Like, I would actually really give it to him. Even though the player that I alluded to before, initially what I wanted to say is maybe joint would have been Bruno Fernandes, because without him coming in January, I doubt that United would have gotten to top four. I doubt we would have had a change around in attitude, a change around in form, a change around in quality, a change around in even professionalism. I think some of our players realized that they had to step up their professional game when his energy and his quality came into the side. And it actually encouraged them from a simple, almost motivation. Instead of a motivation from a manager, instead of a motivation from the fans or critics, it gave them a simple motivation. Just seeing how he came in and how he wanted to be a Manchester United player, how he wanted to show that quality, how he wanted us to excel more than what we were doing before he came in. But the problem is with that is that he was only there for half a season. So it makes it difficult for me. But if you had to break the tie, how would you break the tie up between those two players? Or do you have a completely different player in your mind?
I actually agree with Juan Bissaka being our player of the year, I was actually going to bring up the fact that he basically sent Ashley Young, your favorite player, to Italy. I was gonna bring that up to you, but that thought wasn't lost on you at all.
No, it wasn't at all.
And fair play to Ashley Young. He's actually done really well down at Inter, from what I hear.
And that is good. I am a firm believer that different players can refine form and refine a form that's good for them, depending upon the league that they go to or depending upon the team that they're actually at. It doesn't mean that they would have still remained to that level if they stayed on the team that they were at. And different leagues will bring about different new challenges or less challenges.
True. The Italian league, I don't watch it very often, but when I do, it seems just a step slower than the Premier League. But him playing as a wingback as compared to a fullback in Antonio Conte's system is much better for him. He can play further up the pitch. He was more for it, kind of like what you were saying with Greenwood, learning a different role to get in the squad. That's sort of what Ashley Young did, I believe, first under Van Gaal. But playing as a wingback is a lot easier for Ashley Young than it is playing as a fullback. So he doesn't have to worry as much about the defensive side of things. There'll be that left-sided center back to cover for him. He doesn't necessarily have that if he's playing as a straight fullback. So when he gets forward, he needs to get back. When he gets back, he needs to defend properly. Between Brandon Williams, who we gave a shout out for Young Player of the Season before ultimately giving the award to Mason Greenwood, and Juan Bissaka, amazing form this season. That left Ashley Young with very little to no playing time and very few options other than to leave the club. So I would give it to Juan. I'll give it to Juan Bissaka just because.
Congratulations!
Like you made an excellent point with Fernandez. He made something out of our season. But Juan Bissaka was there from the start. Now, I think Bruno should have been there from the start too, but I don't want to get into that.
Let's not.
But we'll give it. We'll agree to give it to Aaron Juan Bissaka as Manchester United Player of 2019-2020. So,
and well deserved. I hope he continues to push on next season, being in the same type of form. And even getting excited about, like you said, his further improvement from an attacking perspective. And hopefully that doesn't deter from the defensive side of things. Because I think he might have been paying a little bit too much attention to that, just the latter half, maybe the last four games of our season. And I think it slightly affected his defense's proficiency.
Yeah, he might have hurt. I don't know, maybe Ole said something to him too that he wants him to get forward a little more, or he heard the fans say, "Oh, if he could just add a little bit more to the attacking side." I'm not worried about him, but he was our best player for the course of 12, 13 months that season lasted. So congratulations to Aaron. One final award to hand out, and it's the Premier League Player of the Year. Now
I'll leave this one all to you, Mike.
So I'll try to set the stage then. I think Jordan Henderson was the PFA Player of the Season. Yes, he was. So he is an option for you. You also have one of your favorites, Jamie Vardy, Kevin De Bruyne, Danny Ings, if a left field choice you want to go with. He had a great season with Southampton. Or perhaps Henderson's Liverpool teammate Sadio Mane, or maybe you want to stay with Aaron Juan Bissaka as the Player of the Year. Who do you got? Who do you think, Jeremy?
I'll be honest with you. A lot of people won't really agree with me, but I do. I'm not a big fan of Jordan Henderson. I don't really like him that much as a player. He wouldn't make my side if I had the chance to pick some people. He wouldn't be in it. And I know a lot of people won't like to hear that. And it isn't just because he's a Liverpool player, which I could care less about all of Liverpool's team. I I think he is actually extremely overrated. I don't really think, if you put him in any other league, I don't really think he's going to excel, where that's what happens with the great players. They're able to play and excel almost in any league.
Like Ashley Young.
Jamie Vardy is a tough call for me because even though I tip my hat to him for winning the Golden Boot, I do think he's a one-trick pony. I don't see much diversity from him. And at the end of the day, he wasn't able to help get Leicester City over the line of what their true goal was for the season. So even though he had a great start to the season, I don't really think he ended it as well, even with the amount of goals that he scored this season. I don't think he ended it well at all. So it then ends up coming down to where, I'm thinking about people like Danny Ings, which I actually respect his game a lot. I think he's been a quality player. Maybe not a world-class player, but a quality player across his professional career. And he has done the job that he's been needing to do for a team that really doesn't have any other options. So I respect him a lot. And then for as much as I hate City, you cannot deny that De Bruyne is the catalyst for anything good that comes out of them. So, but with them also having not as amazing of a season as they could have had and they should have had, to let Liverpool run away with the title to the degree that they did, it ends up coming down to I just don't like the list of any of these players whatsoever. And if I had to give to one, it would be Danny Ings. But even that, I just feel like I wish I didn't have to give it to any of them. And that might just be being a little bit salty. Who knows?
Well,
I can take that if that's what it is.
Is there any player I didn't mention that maybe you think does deserve it, or Danny Ings, you think is the best option in your eyes?
In the list that you gave me, yes. The best option in my eyes, to tell you the truth, and I'm thinking about this holistically, I actually would say a player on our team, Marcus Rashford, and for multiple reasons. He has been an amazing player throughout the whole season. He's scored an abundance amount of important goals, not just easy goals, not just tap-ins, but important goals. And he's done something amazing for, I think, the league in a time when we needed it, which was step up from not only from a professional thing, but from a social standpoint, and do something that was actually really remarkable. At a time when clubs were being greedy and thinking about themselves. We're not going to say the name of what club that was, but we all know who it is.
It was more than one club, but I know what club you're talking about, yes.
And I think that's lost a little bit. People have not said and given him his just dues on to what degree. And I don't think he did it for praise either. He seemed very genuine, and it was a phenomenal thing that he's done. And I think holistically through the season, I actually would give it to him because he has had a great season on the pitch as well.
At first I was like I thought you were nuts when you said his name, but in such a crazy year that this has been season, and
COVID, everything.
You could see like Jordan Henderson won the PFA award, and you could see when you watch Liverpool with him and without him, that him being in the lineup to me makes him just that much more solid. He does provide a role.
I'll give that to you.
But as a holding midfielder, a player of the year, that felt like a sentimental choice.
Yeah.
So I do like your thinking outside the box. Now, we might be biased because he plays for our team a little bit, but he did so much good during the lockdown period when you were reading about other players like a Jack Grealish getting drunk, crashing his car into
ridiculous.
and to park cars, and you had like stuff Kyle Walker was doing, and Dele Alli, I think, was going on benders. He didn't
have an amazing actual showing out on the pitch as well. It wasn't like he had a subpar season.
Yeah, and I think
a lot of goals and assisted a lot of goals.
Well, if you focused on just the pitch, I think I would give it my player of the year was Sadio Mane, based solely upon when I watched Liverpool and when they were not at their best, they were struggling to break teams down. there was one man I thought that had the inspiration to get them those 3 points, and that was Sadio Mane this season.
Okay. Yeah.
He stepped up for them when they needed it, and that's why I would have given him the award and not Jordan Henderson. But to your point, with all the good that Rashford did during the lockdown with raising not just awareness but money to feed children, like actual actions of that,
and be a good role model.
Yeah, and keep, not
and keep his form up.
Yeah, but then taking on the parliament and even the prime minister when it came to the initiatives and helping out children, it was a very inspirational story, and he's very much I think there are very few, as I get older, there are very few athletes that are true role models, but he is one I could see as being a role model based upon his actions. And even before lockdown, he always carried himself well with his charitable contributions, not just money, but his time and providing awareness and stuff like that. So I think your pick of him, because he did have a good season on the whole. I think your pick is very outside the box, but
yeah,
I kind of like it because of he was the man of the match of lockdown, as far as I'm concerned. and when we came back, there's a couple games against Palace that were a little, especially that Palace match was a little twitchy, and he helped settle that match for us. And he stepped up big there, and that kind of gave us the platform to just barely make it into third. We're not barely make it, but we did, I guess, barely make it because of it was on goal difference with Chelsea. But that really
spade to spade.
Yeah,
but we're happy we're there.
We came off of a relatively poor performance against Southampton that resulted in a draw, and we needed that win. We needed those 3 points that day to really keep up the pace with the other two teams and ultimately get where we needed to go. So you're right. He scored some big goals. And yeah, he was the man of lockdown. So I think that's a fair award. I'm going to stick with Sadio Mane because I still I'm going to just stick with my original thought there. But I think Rashford's an excellent pick when you look at the whole picture and not just on the pitch, even if it's supposed to be an award for how you play. But yeah, given a strange year, I think that's an excellent pick.
Thank you.
I know my praise means everything to you, but
it sure does. But I've always been known for thinking outside the box and saying things that people don't initially think of. Yes, so I'm just going to stick to my guns.
You have been good at that, and that's why you're a great member on this channel. So
thank you.
Thank you again for providing your wisdom. But the curtain is now closing on the Theater of Football. I hope you enjoyed our year in awards. Please let us know who you think was the Man United Young Player of the Year, the Most Improved Player, and the just general best player of the season, along with your Premier League Player of the Year in the comments section. For Jeremy, I'm Mike, and take care.
Bye.
Oh, hello. Thank you for watching the Theater of Football. If you think Mike got it wrong yet again, please leave your thoughts in the comment section below.